Hello, everybody. Welcome to Outpost Unknown's review of the movie Smile. My name is Matthew. Joining me today on this review is the wonderful actress here in Nebraska, Jennii Caroline.
Hey guys, what's up?
And we have the wonderful director here in Nebraska, Josh.
I thought you were gonna say my name on the first part, but it wasn't. You didn't. I'm not the actress, nor am I a director.
True, true. So we are here, guys, to talk about the new horror flick Smile. You guys have seen it, I don't know, probably a week or so ago. I just caught it today. And Jennii, can you tell us just a broad overview of what this movie's about? General synopsis.
Well, I don't know. I talked to somebody about this movie a little bit ago, and it kind of changed what I thought of the whole thing in a weird way. I I don't know.
Okay.
So I'm a little taken back because I kind of thought about how some people's perception of why this thing in the movie's happening can be why it's happening, if you know what I mean. Um,
Okay.
so let me give a more basic idea. So there's a woman who we kind of learn later that she's kind of gone through some trauma, but she still turned out, to be a pretty smart, educated lady. She's like I think a psychiatrist or some kind of therapist. She's practicing at I think it's an emergency hospital, like
Yeah.
not like her own private practice or anything. And yeah, it kind of starts right off the bat with an incident of a woman coming in and pretty much seeming like she's just completely crazy and killing herself right in front of this doctor. So that's right off the bat. We've got a death.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she basically proceeds to try to figure out what's going on as she sees more and more creepy things. The titular smile, people smiling at her, and what that means, what that's all about, and it's kind of like a mystery of the movie, right? As we sort of go through it. Um, I don't know, Josh. We'll throw it to you. What did you think of Smile?
Well, let me just start with in my defense. I saw this movie like 3 weeks ago, so
Oh, okay.
I'm not 100% on top of it. I did take my daughter to the movie, who wanted to see it. So I ended up being like the coolest dad on the block because none of her friends' parents would take her to that movie. So I was either the coolest parent or like the worst parent on the block. I'm not quite sure which yet. Um, I do remember leaving the film or leaving the movie, just like thinking it had very like kind of close ties or very like close vibes to The Ring and It Follows. One movie that I really like and one movie that I really hate. Um, and so
Which is which?
when The Ring came out, I was all about that movie. I thought that movie was the shit. I really dug that movie. It Follows was just hot garbage for me, but not for a lot of people. I was kind of alone on that island for people that hated It Follows. So anyway, that's what I remember walking out of that movie. I thought the lead actress did a really good job kind of navigating like her character through all the trauma throughout the movie.
Sosie Bacon is the lead actress. I
Yes,
thought she was incredible.
yeah,
That's Kevin Bacon's daughter, by the way.
yes. And I had a conversation with that about that with somebody. I had no idea that was her, so that person told me that was her, which was really cool. But yeah, it had some really good jump scares. There's one. I don't really jump on the jump scares too much. I usually see them coming from pretty far away, but there was one jump scare in this movie that got me. It was the very first one. I remember she's typing at like a computer or something, like
Is
looking
that
for.
the one where she's trying to listen to the sound file
Yeah,
coming out?
and it's
Yeah.
Oh,
like
that
a
got me
hard
too.
cut, and then the girl's right there, or whatever.
Yeah.
That like I was like, God damn it!
Rose.
What?
Oh, and she just goes, Rose.
So I remember that. Here's one thing about the movie, and I'm sorry if I'm like hijacking this whole fucking thing. Here's one thing that I really, really did not like about the movie, and I felt the same way about Barbarian when we watched that. Um, that there's a section at the end where she's having that moment with her mom where like the mother's just scaring the absolute dog shit out of her. And then all of a sudden the mom is like this super huge, big, giant monster. And I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like why do they think that bigger is scarier? And that's where like it kind of lost me with that moment. I just thought it was a lot creepier when it was just the mom and her at the end. Again, this was 3 weeks ago, so you all correct me when I'm veering to the wrong side here. um but yeah, those are like kind of the moments that I kind of remember in the movie. Oh, and Lollipop playing in the end credits had a really great feel to it.
Okay. So overall letter grade, what would you give this?
Uh, I'm gonna go, right down the middle and go C plus.
Okay. Jennii, your thoughts. What'd you like? What'd you dislike about Smile?
Well, right off the bat, the movie, right before I got in, I got carded going to the movie, and I was so confused.
At the
Um,
South Point one?
yes, I was
I
so
got carded
confused,
today too.
and I'm so old that I was like, "What?" And it caught me off guard so quick that my first like I accidentally lied. So when the lady goes, "How old are you?" I go, "21." And I go, "I mean, I'm older than 21." Like I just went off on this like awkward stammering
Is
thing.
it that old lady?
Yes, an older
Yes.
woman.
Today she's like, I need to see your ID. And I'm like, I'm 41.
I was so
She
thrown
felt-
off. I was
I'm
so
like, I
thrown
know I look young, but I don't look 15.
so yeah, that for me put me in a weird mindset because I was like, what the hell? Like what? I've never ever in my life been carded going to a movie ever. Even as like a high school kid, going to all kinds of movies. I've never been carded going to a movie. So that was weird. Um but anyhow, back to the movie. I really liked there was a lot of cool shots, like where they were kind of flip flopping upside down and all these cool like wide shots of like fall vibes. I don't know if you guys
Hmm.
kind of noticed
Yeah.
all that, but I like that we're here in the fall seeing this movie coming out in the fall, and it kind of gave it a relatable vibe. So I really liked that. I didn't think that the scenes with like the blood and the gore were really that intense. Um, I was kind of expecting maybe a little bit more brutal, if we're being honest. I really did like the scene in the cabin. It's a brief image of the person kneeling with the mom slash demon slash whatever they're dealing with crawling inside the mouth.
Yeah.
I,
It
I
takes his
really,
skin off and
yeah,
stuff.
I did like that scene. That was like kind of wild. But yeah, I kind of agree with Josh that like when like they're trying to go like bigger is better when they have this like mom turning into this giant kind of zombie rotting looking ghoul thing. That was kind of strange. Um I don't know. That was a little weird. I kind of got like almost like Resident Evil vibes with some of that scenery, but I think the house could have been a lot creepier.
Yeah, it looked like a little shack,
Yeah.
kind of, the house itself.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned before we started the call that you had a conversation with someone you thought it might sort of shift how you perceived this film in terms of what was actually happening.
Yeah, so in my head, I didn't I come like thinking about other people's perception. Like in my head, watching this movie, I was like, oh my God, it's like a curse. It's a really bad curse. Like it's happening because it's this real curse that must have some kind of creation somewhere if it's affected, 20 something plus people. So in my head, I'm thinking it's a curse. The other person that I talked to didn't think that at all, just completely thought that it was a mental problem that was affecting people. And I was like, "Oh, I didn't even think about that." Like a rare like mental thing that
Yeah.
happened and I hadn't thought about it that way at all.
Yeah, because the hook for we're gonna go into spoiler territory here for anyone listening, but the hook of the movie, what they sort of find out is that if you witness they don't really say if this is a demon or go or what this thing is, but basically it's kind of infecting people. So when you witness somebody sort of or this thing having someone commit suicide in front of you, it then sort of kind of attaches itself to you. And in order to sort of break the chain, you have to kind of like murder someone on your own. You have to murder someone in order to pass it on. Very ring like, where okay, I got to let someone else watch the tape. I got to make a
Yeah.
copy of it, and then the curse is broken.
It's exactly 7 days, by the way. It's 7 days. Am I right? In the movie?
Well, they say
Longer?
4 to 7 because he
Okay.
goes. I've seen it as short as 4 days and as long as a week, but no one's
Okay.
gone past a
Yeah.
week.
Okay.
So it's not that explicit, but it's basically the exact same thing. This is one of those movies that it's just a curse is being passed on to you, and how do you break it, right? There's many films in this genre. Drag Me to Hell is one of my favorite ones. I love that Sam Raimi one. Thinner is another one because everyone talks about The Ring and It Follows and stuff like that. But go all the way back to Thinner. Thinner is a great movie where someone has been cursed and is trying to figure out how to break the curse, so to speak. Um, I kind of agree with you guys. Like I feel like the some of the jump scares were highly effective. One thing that was directly inspired from The Ring, like almost carbon copy, was in Gore Verbinski's The Ring, the American remake. There's that sequence right after the sort of the opening credits, whatever that kill, where they just cut to the girl in the closet and her mouth, like her jaw, like goes slack jawed and her head tips down. It's like a 1 to 2 second shot, and they do the same thing here, where they mention somebody who's died in the morgue, and you see the face all like carved up and creepy. So there's all kinds of stuff like that in here, and I don't necessarily think that's bad, right? Because horror as a genre in and of itself, we horror fans sort of trade on doing these repeated motifs. So when I look at something like this, I don't go, "Oh, this is just a Ring ripoff. I don't want to see that." No, if it's done effectively and well, I'm going to enjoy it. And I feel for the most part, this movie was effective, especially with the jump scares. And I mean, there's a couple of them that got me, and I was like, "Holy shit!" There was a couple times like my hair kind of went up on my arms, like, "Oh." That's testament to an effective filmmaking style, even if it may be aping a bunch of stuff that came before. So, my big problem with the film was I felt it was too long. Like, this did not need to be 2 hours long. This was, and I think I read that this was actually a short film that they said, "Hey, turn this into a feature," and he turned his own like short film into this feature length thing. And I think the original short was like 10 minutes long or something. This could have been 75, 80 minutes tops. And everything that we would have gotten would have been exactly what we needed for a movie like this. But it goes on and on and on and on. And I'm like, when is this thing going to end? And it has multiple endings. You think it might be over, but then it's not over, and etc. What I will give it credit for is I love the bad ending. Like, it did not have a happy ending to
Yeah,
it,
no
which,
winners.
yeah, and I was so happy about that because I was like, I don't want this to have a happy fucking ending, because I think it's more powerful that it doesn't have a happy ending because the actress, Sosie Bacon, is so good in this that I felt so bad for her. Like, I wanted her to get out of it, but on the other hand, I'm like, I don't want this to have a happy ending. Like, I don't. It'll just work better if there's no happy ending to it. And spoiler alert, she dies. The monster, the creature, whatever this thing is, gets her in the end, and this chain is going to continue. So, but I like your idea, Jennii, about this potentially not even being a monster, just sort of being in her head, because she even mentions in the film, like, this is just in my head. She's flashing back to things with her mom and stuff like that, and they deal a lot with trauma and mental illness in this movie, and I think that's a better way to read it, honestly, than just, uh, a giant monster creatures, because that's how she's envisioning this. This is like the giant overbearing presence of her mother, and she can't deal with it. She has no way to really deal with it, and that's what ultimately gets her in the end, rather than it just being some mystery monster that's not really explained.
Yeah, and I did think it was interesting that each person's gonna see something different, you know? Like, they didn't try to relate that at all. But I kinda wondered, like, there was a lot of character building and things happening and things that they were filming that didn't tie into anything. I thought there was gonna be an alcohol problem when they kept showing her drinking, like, these little sips of wine, and every time she'd go to the fridge, she'd
Yeah.
pour, like, this minuscule thing. So I was kinda thinking, "Oh, they're gonna have some weird flashback or something they're gonna tie in about her being an alcoholic or maybe it rooting her last relationship or her ex being an alcoholic, like, and then there was nothing. And then having the another spoiler, obviously, we've been doing lots, but, having the one detective be her ex-boyfriend, I thought was kinda weird, like, did it he even need to be her ex-boyfriend? Because they didn't really build on that at all. We didn't see, you know, any like flashbacks of what her life was like with him or why they really broke up or why he
Yeah.
was even putting time into hanging out with her, risking his job and his life. uh,
Showing her, like, classified stuff that he's not supposed to show her.
yeah, and I was like,
It's
oh.
almost like they did that because they needed a way. Because one aspect of this I really loved was the fact that nobody believes her, right?
Mhm,
So she is actually kind of like a very pretty respected psychologist. She helps people. She's been doing this because of the guilt she feels for basically letting her mom die. Because, again, spoiler, what ends up happening and what you see in the flashback is that, she was a little kid, 10-year-old kid. Her mom was overdosing and her mom was like, "Please give me the phone. I screwed up. Give me the
mhm.
phone." And she was like, "Nope," and just kind of let her die. Let her mom die because her mom was just a horrible,
Scary,
horrible
yeah.
person. And that's a very interesting thread to go into. You don't see it. I feel like they could have gone more with that. Not that I'm like requesting to see child abuse on screen or anything like that, but if they would have shown more emphasis on the mom and why she made that choice. You just kind of hear about it, right? Oh, mom
Mhm,
was horrible. She was just terrible. The sister had to move out and left her there all by herself and stuff. There was so much you could have done with that aspect of it to really sort of sort of like beef up that aspect of the film to make it more hard hitting that they didn't do. They kind of pulled their punches a little bit with that aspect, which I wish they wouldn't have. But I do. Overall, I mean, I liked the film. I came out of it like, okay, that was a pretty good time.
mhm,
I didn't hate this movie by any means. I definitely think it could have been 35 minutes shorter. But again, I think that Sosie Bacon was awesome. I'd never seen her in anything else, I don't think. And I was struck watching this like, man, we've gotten some great fucking performances by female horror actresses this year, right? You had Mia Goth and Pearl. Go check out a review of that. We have that up. You have Sosie Bacon in this. Even the actress that was in Barbarian was really good.
We have Jamie
And
Lee Curtis and Halloween Ends. I mean,
yeah, shout out to Jamie if you're listening. Slap
uh,
oh
girl.
God,
No.
God. So I mean, we've had some great performances, and this was a great performance. And this is his first feature film, Parker Finn. I'm definitely interested in seeing what he does next. This is very competently made, and it does have a lot of jump scares. If you are someone that's not into jump scares, you're probably not going to like this because there's quite a few of them. But I thought they were effective. And so Jenny, how would well, like a letter grade? How would you rate Smile?
Well, I did actually really like it. I didn't think it was overly long, but I also like kind of love being immersed in something for as long as it can possibly be. So, I will give it a B plus.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a B minus. So I definitely think it's worth watching. I think this is actually a better film to watch in theaters than it would be sitting on your couch watching it. Because I do think that there is such a reliance on the jump scares. I think jump scares work so much better in a theater when you got a great sound system and you're surrounded by other people sort of watching this. The people who were in the theater with me, and I don't know what your guys' experiences were, but they seem to really dig this. There were people like going, "Oh my god," and jumping and kind of screaming and stuff like that kind of stuff. So it's effective. And so B minus for me. I just if it had been a little bit shorter and would have focused a little bit more on the abuse angle of how she came to be how she is, I think it would have been more impactful. So, Josh, you're sticking with your C plus after hearing all of our great points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna change my letter grade. What I will say is that this is a $17 million film that made $167 million. So, Smile 2 coming soon.
And how do you how I was actually thinking about this, like, how do you make a sequel to this that's not exactly the same? Like,
I,
is it just going to be like the origin of how this thing started, like Jenny was saying? Like,
I I'd rather see that than a continuation. Like I'd rather see the origins of what this is than a continuation and get the same movie. Because that's what you're gonna get. It's just gonna be, more smiles, more smiling and more cursing. That's all it's gonna be. So, um, yeah,
Yeah, I think since they left it with the guy who's like a cop, not that cops go out and kill people all the time, but I think it'd be pretty easy for him to have an excuse to kill somebody.
well,
So
that's the thing. He has to kill someone, but someone else has to witness
watching,
it.
yeah, but I think that could happen.
You get some
I think
homeless guys or something. He's just gonna
yeah,
go
and
kill.
take one for the team or something. But I think the continuation of this movie could be him already real quick getting rid of that curse or whatever you want to call it, but then trying in his own like detective kind of way, trying to predict who's going to have it next and where it's going to go. And I think that's how the next movie is going to be.
Yeah, I hope they don't do that. I'm kind of with Josh. I'd like to see more about this. If it is a creature, if it is a monster, some sort of demon, whatever this thing is, if it's not like a mental thing, which I also think is an interesting take, but if it is an actual monster of some sort, I'd like to see where it came from and sort of like make a period piece. Does this go all the way back to like ancient Rome or some shit like that? Like, have people just been committing suicide continuously in front of other people for like 3,000 years because of this thing? Go all the way back. Like, throw caution to the wind. Don't give me something in modern day. Go way back in time and show me like some dude who made a deal with a demon to do this for something. I think that'd be kind of cool. Going out into left field with it.
Yeah,
and make it 3 hours long.
3.5.
Yeah, 3.5. Three and
Yeah.
a half's a good number.
Cool. So there you go, everybody. Pretty much positive. Jenny and I more positive on it than Josh, but Josh still say you'd say it's worth a watch, right, Josh?
Oh, 100%. Go see that movie. Yeah,
Cool.
for
And
sure.
it's always good to support new horror filmmakers. Interested to see what Parker Finn does next. So yes, there's our review of Smile. What do you think? Do you agree with us? Leave a comment down below. Jenny, Josh, thanks for doing this review. I look forward to the next one.
Thank you. It was fun.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.